This is a 2-year review. This month is 2 years since my father purchased this Massimo 500 4x4 gasoline model. And I wanted to tell you the good and the bad about it. We will start with the good, but we'll end with the bad. All right, so the good is these tires are 2 years old, and look how much traction they still have on them. That's all off-road, and he uses this thing a good bit. The driveway is all gravel, crush run. It has been extremely reliable. For 2 years, this thing has not failed him one single time on starting up or getting to a destination. I don't even think he's taken it off-road quite enough to get really stuck. But he has gone in places that cars can't go and two-wheel drive vehicles can't go. It just digs down until it gets to where it's going to keep pushing. It's actually it didn't pull a Jeep out of the creek itself. Its winch did. He just pulled it up against a tree and winched my Jeep out of a creek. So it does have a very strong winch. The winch has been very reliable, easy to use. Another good thing is when they bought it from Tractor Supply ended up giving him a new windshield because he found some scratches on it. And, I thought that was good customer service. This one's got independent suspension. Hasn't had any problems with the brakes. Hasn't had any problems with the engine. Any of the switching of the gears or anything like that. No major problems. It's held up pretty well. Like I said, the reliability is huge on this one. It's been very reliable for him. I don't think it's top heavy at all. It pretty much handles its own. It doesn't try to flip on you or anything like that. It's a really big one, for us. So, all right, next thing, the bad. I'm going to start with some of the minor things and progress to some of the things that are pretty darn bad. Okay, something minor is if you're raising this bed to dump it and you bring it back down, you can crush your hands right here. My dad's already done it one time. He didn't lose his hand, but he definitely felt like he was going to at the moment. So the bed definitely is an issue when it comes back down from dumping. Be careful, you could break your hand or your fingers or whatever. Another thing, that's kind of quirky. You see that? Now that one closed. All right, it was quirky to get it open. Now let's go around to the one that is open already. Okay, closed immediately. A second ago, I couldn't close it. All right, now it finally closed. All right, now it's quirky again. And you have to bend over, get your fingers in there and pull it open like that. So that's kind of aggravating. Another thing, for me, my dad, it doesn't bother him so much, but me, boy, it aggravates me. I can't slide in the vehicle. You get right here and you might as well, you feel like you're going to the doctor to get something done. If you sit on that, it hurts pretty bad. So you have to get in an awkward position to get over here to get this beside you, because you got a little bit of space. You got about 11 inches, maybe 12 inches from here to here. To me, that's not enough, and that was a very cheap way to do that. They could have just had a little armrest right here or something that you could slide over that wouldn't hurt you. All right, another thing that I don't like seeing my dad have to do is he is really having to work hard to get this thing in the low. It's like, just really pushing hard on it to get it into low. And so I don't like seeing him hurting his hands like that. All right, next thing, the steering. See how hard that is to steer? It's actually not too bad, but that's as good as it gets. You start this thing up. It said it had power steering. And I believe some of the models out there really have power steering. But this one, I believe it was a joke. And that they played on us, that it does not have power steering. I watched my dad turn this thing around, and it is a workout. So I wouldn't mess with him. His upper body is pretty strong about now after 2 years of this. All right, here's another thing. My dad's not too rough with this, and those have already popped. It's not like he did anything wrong with them, but that's your door catch, and it's not much of a catch. Now these are still working. That's what they do. See, that's going to pop eventually. It's not far away from it. All right, another thing that was very rough on my dad is when he went to change the oil. He had to use a breaker bar to get the drain plug off. He had to dissect the oil filter to get it off. I mean, he had to tear that thing apart. And my dad, he's taken off lots of oil filters and swapped them out over the years. But in this case, it was on there solid. So, as far as the oil filters go and the drain plugs, they could have done a better job of not torquing that thing down so tight. And you have to take all this apart to get to the engine. It's not easy. So I don't like that about it. Okay, so another thing. The rear end is positive traction. That positive traction rear end tears things up. If you can imagine, you got gravel out here. You see a little mud hole right there. He didn't do that, but that's the kind of things it does. It will tear your driveway up unless you got real deep gravel. And then it's still churning your gravel up every time he turns around. Or if he just takes a sharp turn, it really does a number on your driveway, gravel, whatever you got. A lot of the models nowadays are, you can change it to one-wheel drive. That's what I like about a Honda I heard about. You can change it to one-wheel drive, and then it's not tearing up your driveway at all. And this one is either two-wheel or four-wheel, and it's all the way. There's no tires or no limited slip, nothing. If you take that sharp turn, it's just churning. It's, the inside tires just eating it up. Okay, the last but not least, the absolute worst thing about this is the plastic floor. My dad got his foot or his leg pinned in here from a 1 foot piece of lighter that he ran over. It was only about 2.5 inches in diameter. It stuck straight through the floor, wedged his foot or his leg back, and just not a good situation. They could have made the floors a little stronger. You look, it did all that. And so I'm going to take some sheet metal, and I'm going to put some sheet metal in the floor for him. But that's not very safe. When you got these real nice tires here, and you got nothing but plastic right there, that's not a safe situation. And he wasn't doing major off-roading. He's actually riding on little roads we made through the property. So that is the worst thing about the Massimo. That's the floors. But overall, it's been a good vehicle for the money you spend compared to the others. I think that he's glad he saved the money. Because it's probably $5,000 less than all the other ones that were a lot, like the Hondas and, different ones.
Around $6,000.
Yeah, around $6,000 difference. But anyway, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. I try to do different videos here and there about things to do with farm life, and just things like tiny houses and stuff like that. There's our tiny house, our campers we live in. There's old Buddy over there. So you guys have a good day and Happy New Year.